Good morning, you guys! Is the mic on? Tá funcionando o microfone? Vocês estão me ouvindo? Okay, good. Good morning, guys. Good to see you. It's Friday again, and on Fridays we wear pink. Now, on Fridays we wear red. So, TGIF, it's very good to be with you guys again. I hope you've had an excellent week so far. Everything's working out. Tomorrow you guys have tests, right? So I'm sure you're studying round the clock, 24/7. And I hope you get to enjoy your Sunday and your Saturday after the tests. One of the tests you guys have tomorrow is the English test, right? That's why today we're going to review everything we've seen so that you guys can be prepared for the test. And in case you have any questions, this is the time to ask. Say it now or forever hold your peace. Okay? Every class, when I bring the slides, the guys here say, but it's the same class because it's the same opening slide. And so maybe you guys have the same feeling, oh, these cities again. But this is the last class. We're going to be working with the cities. So beginning next class, we start a whole new chapter in our classes and in our lives. So anyway, we're saying goodbye to the big cities, big challenges, after a month that we've been covering this topic, right? Are you guys fine? In good health? Are your families good as well? Okay. First things first, we're going to correct the exercises. I'm sure you guys remember that last class we were covering the modal verbs. This was the topic of our previous class. Prior to that, before the modal verbs, we had seen the future tenses, right? All the situations, going to, will, but also simple present and present continuous being used to refer to the future. And we also saw the vocabulary from the unit. I also want you guys to recollect a little from Unit 3 that you studied before. Okay, we're going to get to that as well. But I don't think you're going to find any of these topics difficult. And this is the time to ask your questions, any doubts that you still have on the topics. Okay? Anyway, with no further ado, I think I've said too much. Important to remember that the topic from this unit was big cities, big challenges, because recollecting the topic reminds us of the vocabulary we might see, right? On the test, on the texts we've read. We discussed a lot about the advantages and disadvantages of living in a big city. Big cities are known for being magnets of people because they hold lots of job opportunities and entertainment options, and you have easier access to public transportation, but also because it is a magnet for so many people, the crowding of big cities, the overpopulation in big cities also brings lots of problems, right? You have lots of pollution, you have unemployment, and that's kind of contrasting, right? People come to big cities because they have more job opportunities, but because too many people come at once, we end up not having job opportunities enough, right? You have traffic, the stress of modern life, which affects people who live in big cities more. What else? What other problems we've discussed? Violence. If you don't have enough jobs. And also, if you have a big different in the levels of society, different walks of life, if they are too distant from each other, you also have a situation that helps generate violence and all those problems we are aware, right? So this is the content we've been discussing throughout these lessons. Okay? So we're going to start by getting back to our homework. Today we have here Gabriel. Gabriel has got a haircut today. He has a new style. I'm sorry you guys can't get to see it. We didn't even recognize him today when he arrived. And we have Renata as our mediator, okay? So if you guys have any questions or if you want to add anything to the class, you can type in and then Renata is going to let me know, okay? So let's get started. Please, Gabriel. And I just remembered, I owe you a Kahoot experience, right? So today we're going to review the modal verbs with a Kahoot activity, okay? If not in this first half of the class, then we'll do in the second half, okay? So let's get started with the exercises. I have one student, Ana Luisa, who sent me her homework. So I'd like to have a round of applause. Yay! Because she was the only person who sent me the homework. But I was happy, thank you very much. May it be an example for everybody that you should be sending your homework. So, anyway, thank you so much. And this is the activity we're going to start correcting, okay? So, part of our topic from last class was studying modal verbs, okay? Which I'm sure you guys have studied plenty of times. And by now, it's not that big of a challenge. So, we've studied might, must, can, need, would, could, must. And now we're going to exercise everything we discussed about these topics, okay? So anyway, exercise 1 on your books. It's an exercise actually taken from a university entrance examinations test. And it goes, complete the following blanks with one of the following modal verb forms. Make sure you do not repeat any of the forms. So, letter A, the sentence goes, excuse me, sir, please observe the parking rules. You park here. It's prohibited. So, when we have a prohibition, you have an obligation not to do something, right? The modal verb we use for obligations is must. And because it is a prohibition, it's negative, we're going to use mustn't. Excuse me, sir, please observe the parking rules. You mustn't park here. It is prohibited. Okay? Easy? What other rules do we have to follow every day that are prohibitions? Nowadays, we mustn't leave our houses without a mask, right? What else? We mustn't go out except if it's really necessary. We mustn't cheat on our tests. That's a prohibition. You mustn't arrive late to class. Okay? So mustn't is the modal verb you use for prohibitions. Any questions, guys? Let me know. B. You are sitting beside a lady at a public park and feel like smoking. What do you say to her? You mind if I smoked here? I'm going to give you like a couple seconds to type in the answer, okay? Because we want Renata to work. So you guys answer there and she's going to let me know your answer, okay? So for situation B only, don't put the answers of all of them, just for letter B. What do you think is the correct modal verb? You are sitting beside a lady at a public park and you feel like smoking. What do you say to her? You mind if I smoked here? I'm getting answers. Perfect. Fantastic, guys. That's the perfect answer. Would you mind if I smoked here? Remember that would changes a verb into its conditional tense, right? Which in Portuguese would be ria, faria, iria, right? And many times we use would instead of do, because I could say, do you mind if I smoked here? That would be correct. But using would change it into a more polite question. It's pretty much the same as in Portuguese. When you say, você se importaria? It sounds lighter than saying, do you mind? Okay? So it's just a matter of being more formal, more polite. So the right one there would be, would you mind if I smoked here? And this structure, would you mind if, is actually a very common way to ask for permission, for acceptance in polite scenarios. Okay? What other examples of would you mind situations we could have? I could ask you, would you mind if we had an extra class next week? Would you mind if, what? Would you mind if our class happened twice a week? Anyway, it's a polite way to ask for permission, for acceptance, okay? Letter C. You are at a drugstore and you want to know if it's possible to pay the bill with a credit card. I pay it with a credit card, so I have to pay for something and I want to know whether it is accepted, right? So what's the question I'm going to ask there? To pay with my credit card. I'll give you guys some seconds to type in the answer. Okay? How can I ask if it's permitted for me that I pay with a credit card? We have already used mustn't. We have already used would. What other option do I have now? What can I use? Yes, perfect. Can I pay it with a credit card? Perfect. I am asking for permission, right? Of course, can has other uses. You can use can for ability, for capacity. You can use can for possibility. But in this scenario, I'm asking for permission. Can I pay with a credit card? So perfect, you guys. And for letter D, you are at the doctor's and he considers it dangerous for you to go on smoking. Too many smoking sentences, right? Okay, anyway. You are at the doctor's and he considers it dangerous for you to go on smoking. He says, you stop smoking. You stop smoking. What do you say? What is the modal verb that would complete the sentence to say that you have an obligation, a very highly advised scenario? What's the modal verb you would use? You must stop smoking. Perfect, fantastic, okay? Must, because you use for obligations or highly advised situations, okay? So, if it was a friend talking, I'm giving you a suggestion, I would say you should. Because it's the doctor and there is the sense of real necessity, you say you must stop smoking. Okay? Perfect. I wanted to point out to the option needn't. We didn't use it in this exercise, but I just want to point out that only when need is used as a modal verb, as an extra verb to the sentence, you can do the negative form with it, okay? It's pretty much the same thing that happens with the verb have. when have is the main verb, you can't use it as its own auxiliary. An example, I ask you, do you have any brothers or sisters? I don't ask, have you any brothers or sisters? No, because in that sentence, have is the main verb, so I can't use it as an auxiliary verb. Okay? It is different from when I have a present perfect. I have studied for the test. In that situation, the question would be, have you? Okay? Because have there is just an auxiliary verb. The same thing happens with need. If I say I need some water, the opposite is I don't need some water, because need would be the main verb. Okay? Is that easy? Do we have a question?
A Yasmin pediu para perguntar se você recebeu a tarefa que ela te enviou sexta-feira passada.
Yes, I did, Yasmin. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I saw it. I just didn't see it early enough. But yes, I got it. I got it. Thank you very much, okay? Thank you so much, guys. Let's move on. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, we're moving on. It didn't change. Next exercise. Here we go. Okay, move on. Is it better now? Guys, let me know. Can you let me know if it's okay now? Okay? If it's better. My voice is no good. And then if the mic doesn't help. So let me know if it's okay now. Renatinha, tu me disse tá ok agora, tá? Okay, so here it is. Is it? A gente tá achando esse aqui? Tá achando esse? Melhorou? Okay. So here we no, it didn't get better. Okay, guys, we're going to work on the microphone, okay? Because I hear the sound is not good. Can I dou uma parada, Renata? Oh. Okay. So here we have an exercise that was done by Ana Luisa. Hey, a round of applause. Thank you very much. Now we're going to correct it. Okay? I'll move on. If the sound is no good, guys, let me know. Okay? Because I might decide to sing. No, just kidding. Gabriel, can we move on to the next page? This is just for everybody to give a round of applause. And then we go to the exercises. Exercise 2, 3, and 4. Choose the correct modal verb to complete the following sentences. Number 2, exercise 1. There are lots of options to solve the situation. You worry. So, I want to say that the situation is really simple. Everything is going to work out fine. So, there is no need for worrying. You don't have to worry at all. Because I want to emphasize that worry is not necessary, I would say you mustn't worry. You mustn't worry. I am highly advising you not to worry, because we're going to solve this easily, okay? So the correct answer would be letter A, you mustn't, okay? For exercise 2, I am easily distracted, and they're trying to test the better mic and so on, and I get distracted. But I'll focus now, I'm 100% focused. Okay. 2, don't you realize that you are in a hospital? You smoke in here. So the person is in a hospital, for crying out loud. So much emphasis on smoking, I don't know why, but anyway. So we are emphasizing. Don't you realize that you are in a hospital? Because it is emphatic. I am not suggesting that you don't worry, that you don't smoke. That's not the scenario. I am telling you that you are prohibited from smoking because it is a hospital. So the correct answer would be letter D. You mustn't smoke in here. Okay? Perfect. If you have any questions, go on and ask. 3, the nurse has been on duty for more than 10 hours. You guys know what is on duty? Yes? When you are at the job, okay? When you are available to work, when you are working. So, the nurse has been on duty for more than 10 hours. She be tired. She be tired. Here, you are making a prediction. You are making, better than that, you are making a deduction, okay? I have a situation, and from that situation, I get the hint, I get the idea of the consequence. So I am deducting something, okay? In these situations, when you have a strong expectation, when you're making a deduction, you are going to use must to suggest that you really consider this is true. Okay? Of course, I could say, she may be tired, to suggest that there is a chance she's tired, but maybe she's not. But because I want to say that being tired for this nurse is the scenario I expect, I believe to be true, I use must. She must be tired. Okay? If you consider the translation, the way we would translate must to Portuguese as deve, it makes the same sense, right? It would give us the same idea in Portuguese. We also make deductions. We also talk about expectations in Portuguese using the verb must, right? So, oh, tomorrow is my mother's birthday, and I am organizing an excellent party, an extravaganza. There will be lots of people, and oh, you must be busy. I highly suspect that you are very busy. Okay? So you also use must in this situation. And finally, do you speak Portuguese? No, I speak Portuguese. This is piece of cake, right? Way too easy. You know, in English, when you want to say that something is very easy, you say piece of cake. So this is piece of cake. This is the use of can in its most traditional situation, which is to talk about abilities. So when I'm talking about an ability, I use can to say that I am able to do something, I have the ability to do something, or to say that I don't have the ability to do something. So the sentence would be, no, I can't speak Portuguese because I don't have the ability to speak Portuguese. Okay? Easy? Yes, Yasmin, Ana Luisa, Guilherme, the ones I know already. Yes? By the way, I've been meaning to tell you this since last class. For the next class, when the test is behind us and we're starting a new unit, I want to have a presentation here that you guys are going to show a picture of you to me. Because I want to get the feeling that I really know you. So I want to have faces for your names, okay? So we are going to use a Padlet or whatever, scenario, whatever website, so that you guys are going to share a picture with me. Would that be okay? Do you think? Because then I would have the faces for the names, okay? We'll work on that. Just make sure you have a picture available on your computer for next class. Okay. It's not fair that you get to see me and I don't get to see you. I'm curious. Okay, Gabriel, move on. So this is a comment on the answers, but I think we have pretty much covered it, right? Next, Gabriel. Now we go to page 83, I believe. Page 83, exercises 8 through 10, which was also part of your homework, okay? So we have a strip, a comic strip, and I'm going to get closer because I need to read it, okay? So it says, Helga said that she's sick and tired of smelling beer on my breath. Are you going to stop drinking beer? No, I'm going to start eating peppermint candy on the way home. So, first of all, attention to the word breathe, right? Breathe is the pronunciation. The verb you pronounce breathe, right? Breathe, and you have an E in the end. And when you exhale, when you put air out of your lungs, out of your mouth, you have your breath. So this is one of those interesting things in English, when almost the same word, they are written almost the same, but the pronunciation changes. So you have your breath and you have the verb to breathe. Okay? But he's talking about his breath. And he says that he's not going to stop drinking, he's just going to start taking peppermint. So, o trecho do segundo quadrinho, I'm going to introduces an idea of, now, pay attention. We have covered these two grammatical topics, future tenses and modal verbs. So the first exercises, they were related to the modal verbs. And now, as part of your homework, you had some activities related to the future tenses we studied, okay? So when he says, I'm going to start eating peppermint candy, is he talking about a possibility? No, right? For a possibility, we would have can, we would have may. Is he talking about a doubt, something he's not sure if he's going to do it or not? No, that's not the scenario. It's quite the opposite, right? When you use going to, you are talking about plans, things that you are getting set to do. You are organizing them to happen, okay? You are talking about a resolution. I have decided I'm going to do something. This is the right answer, right? He's talking about resolution. The word resolution is very common in the expression New Year's resolutions. I believe you guys have heard it, right? Whenever we're starting a new year, and I believe that for 2020, many of our resolutions went down the drain, right? Many things we thought we would be doing by now, we haven't been able to do yet. But let's hope that it's all going to get better and we're going to start doing everything we had planned. But anyway, a New Year resolution is something that by the end of the year, you decide that you're going to do the following year. So every year, people are known for making New Year's resolutions. Okay? So this is the right answer. See, he is talking about a resolution, something that he decided to do, he's planning to do in the future. Okay, so I'm going to start eating peppermint candy. Is it a condition? No, I would have an if sentence to establish a condition. If she complains, I will start eating peppermint. So he's not expressing a condition. And an obligation. He's not talking about something he must do. It's not an obligation. It's something he decided to do. It's a plan and intention. So the correct answer would be answer C. Okay? He's making a resolution. Gabriel, next. A comment on the answers. Let's go to exercise 9. Okay, perfect. Choose the correct alternative. Guys, in your test, we are going to have some headlines in English, right? That's okay. Okay? Yeah? So you guys are going to answer some questions in English, like these ones. So it says, choose the correct alternative. Brrr. Who turned up the air conditioner? It's really cold in here. My nose and my fingers are cold. You a hot cup of tea. Thanks, that sounds good. Again, we have a situation for the use of the future tenses. 4 future tenses we've covered, and we're going to get to each one in a fast review, okay? But anyhow, for this activity, you have to consider that I wasn't planning to bring you a hot cup of tea. But since you've mentioned that the air conditioner is making the room too cold, okay, so this is a snap decision. Remember, snap decision? Something I decided right there. So it's a future action, but a future action that I have just decided to do. Remember? So it's a snap decision. What are we going to use? First, I will bring you a hot cup of tea, which is the correct answer. I will bring you a hot cup of tea. B, I won't bring you a hot cup of tea. Letter B is wrong. Not because of the structure. The structure is correct. Letter B is wrong because of the idea, right? You are cold. Oh, I won't bring you a hot cup of tea. It makes no sense. That's why it's wrong. But if you were considering only the structure, only the sentence, it would be correct. But the idea doesn't make sense. Okay? I will not break you a hot cup of tea. What? I will break you a hot cup of tea, or I won't break you a hot cup of tea. So the correct answer is letter A. But what I want you guys to have in mind is that this is the type of question that is considering the understanding of the language, not the structure itself, right? Because structurally, all the options are the same. They have the same structure. It's will with a verb in the infinitive without to. A will and the verb in the base form. What makes you decide on the correct answer is the idea, is really understanding what makes sense. Okay? Perfect. But it's easy, right? Piece of cake too. And 10. Indicate the alternative that best completes the following sentence. Look how wet the ground is. It last night. Now, remember, expectations and deductions, you also use must. So I haven't really read the options, but we know just from the headline that I'm going to make a deduction. I didn't see the rain. I didn't see the rain last night, but the ground is wet. And the only thing that could make the ground wet, I believe, is the rain. So my deduction, I'm going to use must, okay? So the options are, 1, it might be sunny last night. This makes no sense in so many levels, right? It makes no sense because there I would have a possibility. It makes no sense because I am talking about last night, a situation that happened, and I have a structure in the present. It might be sunny last night. It's wrong. And the simple idea that I am talking about last night, and I'm saying it would be sunny. So this makes no sense whatsoever. This is the alternative that you say, man, give me a break. This is too easy. right? Okay, so letter A, out of the question. But remember that might you use to talk about possibilities, when something is possible. I'm not sure it's going to happen, but it is possible. I use might, okay? Letter B, it must have rained last night. This is the right one, okay? It must have rained last night. I am talking about a situation that is past, yeah, and it has its consequence in the present. So it must have rained last night. This is the right one. It should have been warm last night. Again, should we use for what? Suggestions, advices, right? It may be snowing last night. Last night is past. The situation is done. So it makes no sense to use present tense. It may be snowing. And it ought to dry last night. It could be, the structure would need an extra verb, right? It ought to be dry. And again, it is a deduction, an expectation of what should have happened last night, of what is possible to have happened last night. And then the correct answer would be letter B. It must have rained last night. It's my deduction. Okay? That's it. And remember, you use the perfect tense when you are talking about situations in the past, but what you have in mind is their relevance to the present. Right? When I say, I've lost my car keys, it's because I need to find it now. So it's a situation in the past with its relevance in the present. Okay? Okay, so next. Gabriel? You have the discussion, right? Oh, you have, oh, no, sorry, we have exercise 11. I thought we had the answer there. We have exercise 11. Mark the only alternative that contains a correct correspondence between the verb form in capital letters and its meaning. Guys, do you understand capital letters? Yeah? When you type and the word is big, it's in capital letters. Okay? So anyway, there is only one alternative where the correspondence is correct. I'm going to give you guys a minute and a half precisely to do this one, and then we'll discuss the answer. Okay? Let's do so. Gabriel, põe só a tela, que eles vão ter um minutinho para fazer. Guys, I didn't get one answer for this exercise. I'm waiting. Just one answer will make me happy. Come on. A, B, C, D, or E? This one's easy. I'm going to give you the answer. I have answers. I feel that I have answers! Yay! Letter C, perfect! Just one C, Renato, or many C's? Woohoo! Fantastic, guys. That's it. Excellent. Letter C is the correct one, okay? Let's take it one by one, and then we can take a break, okay? So let's take it one by one. Today, the world faces what might be called a clash of emotions as well. I'm sure you guys know what clash is because there is a game, right? That the name is Clash of... I want to say Titans, but I'm afraid I might be ridiculous because I'm not sure. But there is a clash of something. You let me know. Type in because when we start the break, I'm going to see it's Clash of Titans. I feel like that's the right one. But anyway, the sentence says, might be called a clash of emotions. It might be called, I am talking about a possibility. This is one of the possible names. So clash of emotions, okay? So it's a possibility, not an obligation. For obligations, we use must, okay? Letter B. There are some areas that seem to display all of them simultaneously. Now this one is that option that you should just forget about, right? Because it makes no sense. For starters, it has the verb seem, which is not even a modal verb. It's not even an auxiliary verb, right? So this one is that one that you say, nah, come on. I think the only reason they have it there, it's because need has double E's, and so does seem. I'm getting the answer. Clash of Clans. Thank you, guys. You see? Great. Thank you. I knew there was a clash of something. Perfect. Thank you. Anyway, B. There are some areas. Oh, so B is wrong. You see? Now I'm embarrassed. But anyway. Seem, not even an option. Forget about it. Do you know the verb to seem? It's to resemble. To have the appearance of, right? So he seems tired. He has the appearance of someone who's tired, okay? The first priority for the West should be to recognize the nature of the threat. This is the correct one. Should for advice. Someone is telling the West what their priority should be. It's an advice. Perfect. So C is the correct one. Letter D, it is a war nonetheless, and one that the West can lose. Here, can also holds the idea of permission. That's possible, but we have to consider can in this sentence, okay? If you didn't have the sentence, and you had can permission, it would be correct. Because can is able to express permission. The reason why D is wrong is the sentence we are discussing. In this sentence, can is talking about a possibility, not a permission. It's not that someone is saying to the West, yes, go ahead, lose. No, that's not it. They are saying that in this scenario, the West might have the possibility of losing. So it's can expressing possibility, not permission. Okay? Because pay attention. When I say, can I go to the bathroom? That's a permission. But when I say, you're ordering your sandwich at Subway, and you say, oh, is it cold? I say, hey, it can be cold or it can be hot. Okay? Both are possible. You can decide. So that's possibility, which is the situation we're studying. Okay? And finally, letter E, but it must find a solution to the Palestinian problem first. Must, it's a necessity, an obligation, or a deduction, an expectation, but not an ability. For abilities, we use can, right? So it would have to be letter C. From the ideas expressed in the alternatives, I have the feeling that there is a text, because you can see that the sentences, they relate. Of course, in a text, in this text particularly, they must have shown the entire text, because it helps you to understand the idea if you read the text as a whole. Okay? Let's take a break. You can go to the bathroom, decide if you want to ask something, and then we start in a couple minutes, in 15 minutes. Okay? Thank you guys. See you in a bit.